You want to say it, don't you?
Yeah.
Say it.
So long, and thanks for all the fish.
No. Okay, fine. We're not going to say it. No one is going to know what I'm talking about. Thank you for coming to Two Crows Podcast. I'm your host,
Thank you for having me.
Tyler Holmes, and this is JorDan.
Oh, I never thought of a catchy name for myself.
This is, well, yes, you have.
Well, yeah, but like using like Jordan and then like a fun last name. Like I
Oh,
never
Jordan Cruz.
Jordan Cruz.
This,
I'm also a Scientologist.
I have the
No,
giggles now.
I'm so sorry. It's my fault.
Jordan is interesting and is basically me.
I am the other side of the NB coin.
And we made plans to Freaky Friday. So do you want to? Oh no, you guys can't hear it. Never mind.
I was
It's
gonna say, no, you can't.
we already said we weren't going to say what they were because then you guys will do it.
Someone would steal our thunder, and then what's the point?
It's
Second place
true.
and something like that is just not.
And then can you imagine it's going to be your face on here? Welcome to Two Crows Podcast. I'm your host, Jordan Holmes.
Jordan Holmes. Jordan businesses.
Now we've lost
Tyler
everyone.
Jordan business. I know. There goes all your patrons. I'm so sorry. It's just. It's,
Okay, so we're going to talk about trauma.
if you can believe it.
So Jordan and I have a lot of religious trauma,
We sure do.
hence the nose piercing for me and the weird glasses for Jordan.
And, and the slightly blue tinged beard.
That too, that too. And the boy band hair.
Yeah, that was unintentional, but yes.
But it's Knuff. It's okay.
It's Knuff. I'm Knuff.
Okay, this is gonna be my giggliest episode.
Again, I am so sorry.
No, it's my
Also,
fault.
now my dog is just right here.
Going like this.
Well, no, she's currently like in my arms down
Oh,
like, trying to get up here. I'm like, no, you can't.
so Jordan and I had similar bringing uppins in our homes, which you guys have heard a little bit of mine. I was in a cult.
Well, yeah, but you weren't intentionally in a cult.
No, I was a child.
But then again, how many people intentionally go into a cult? I feel like there's a few.
Yeah.
A few that like there had to be a few that were onto Jim Jones, like, this is probably a cult, but I'm okay with it because it's
Or
fun.
the Anthill kids.
Who are the Anthill kids?
Okay, this guy is freaking wacko.
It's always a guy.
I
It's always a guy.
I don't remember his name. But he was married and had a kid with like this lady, but he was always like a ladies' man and always like "Rawr," with the ladies. And so they got divorced. But he then was like, I'm gonna start a freaking cult.
As one does. That's the American dream.
But it started with him going into the Seventh-day Adventists, and he really liked it. And so they started letting him teach Sunday school. And they go in there while he's teaching Sunday school. And this dude is talking about how women need to be submissive to men and how they're basically subservient and need to just obey anything men say. And the pastor of the church was a woman. So they
Like,
said, no, you cannot do that no more.
he didn't see a problem with that. He was like,
But he took some of the followers with him, mainly freaking women following this guy.
that doesn't make any sense. But
So then this guy starts a wellness center.
no,
with these people. So he has them sell all their like earthly possessions and open this wellness center with him. And the neighborhood actually really liked him. He must be like hella charismatic. Like his charisma off the
I feel like
charts,
you have to
rolling
be
20s.
charismatic. You have to be charismatic to have a cult, right?
And I don't even think he was attractive, but all these women are following him. And maybe it's only because I've seen pictures of him post what goes on.
No.
Oh, but so he starts this wellness center, and it's all about eating vegan or is it vegetarian? One of the two. Which Seventh Day Adventists like that. You don't have to be Seventh Day Adventist, but they approve
Interesting. Did not.
of vegetarianism. So he starts like really pushing for eating healthy, eating clean, and using a lot of medicinal supplements and things, and going towards Eastern medicine, which I can get on board with, but I think it's a mixture of Western and Eastern that you need.
Right. It's like it's fairly innocuous to
Yeah.
get into that. Like, okay, all right.
So yeah, they're doing this. Uh, there's a lady with stage 4 cancer in the hospital, and the husband comes to him and he's like, they say that there's no hope for her. Like the all like please help me. Like the husband's like in a state of like pleading, like I want something to happen, like I have to try something. They're saying that she's not going to survive.
Right.
Takes him to the hospital, and this guy's like, no, they're killing your wife. She will survive if you go with me. Puts her on a diet of just, I forget what it was, but it was like nothing, no substance in what she was having, and basically starved to death. So he
Oh,
killed
so
her.
she didn't make it.
No, but he didn't say that it, he twisted it though so that it wasn't
Okay.
his fault. Like the doctors before him are what killed her, not him. Like
Right.
so eventually this wellness, like they're running out of money, they have to close down this wellness center, and they end up going towards the hills. They go into the wilderness
As one would.
and they build like little commune rooms at the base of a mountain. Some of these people had children already like going there, and he married the people started calling it a cult, so he started allowing the men and women there, like he would arrange the marriages and make them get married to each other, but they really didn't have a relationship. But it
Okay.
was like just to show their families that he's not marrying all the women.
That's another common trope of the cult is marrying all the women.
Yes, but he was the only one sleeping with all the women,
Well, naturally.
so they had like a bazillion children. And then all the children that they brought into the cult, that weren't his children, he called them the animals,
Lovely.
and they were pushed off into their own little house and they had to stay there. And they were like just given very small amounts of food. They weren't treated well. No one's getting a lot of food because they're broke, but these children are getting the least amount of food. They're quiet. Like reporters that went there, because later on he's on talk shows, by the way. These children are like silent, even like the babies. And they're getting no love, no attention, nothing. Um, and then his children are treated a little bit better, but they're still like super strict. Like, and then of course there's all the adult activities going on, and they start involving his children in those adult activities.
Oh,
Yes, yes.
gross.
Um, so yeah, lots of children. But yeah, things happen and people start getting wind of what's going on, and the police start getting involved and like seeing what's going on. There was a guy that they brought in that wanted to be part of the cult. Like he came to them like, "Hey, I want to be a part of you."
Oh, like a plant?
No, this guy wasn't a
Oh,
plant.
oh, okay.
Yeah. So he's part of why the police found out. But he came, and they're like, "Okay, well, we will allow you to come, but you're going to take care of the animals."
Okay.
So his job was basically babysitting the children that no one was allowed to love. And they, yeah. So one of the children ends up dying, and no one really knows what happened, but they blamed that guy for killing the child, but they're really not sure how the child died. So they end up going to court. What's court? What's court? Oh, the judge is that guy, and then his wives are the jury.
Oh, that literal. Okay, so they have their own court naturally.
And they decide he wasn't guilty at first, by
Mm,
reason of insanity, they said. And then he comes back and he goes, no, 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 no. He needs to be castrated.
yeah, there's a twist, but
So his punishment is getting castrated for this child dying. It was like a 2-year-old kid too.
that's terrible. Wait,
Yeah.
was the 2-year-old an animal? One of the
Yeah.
animals?
Mm-hmm.
Oh gosh, man, that's
Yeah. And then so this guy ends up giving punishments to the women and stuff and the men too for like any little thing. Like
mhm.
some of them were giggling, eating too much. One of the pregnant wives, or she wasn't pregnant with his kid, so he was mad because she was already pregnant when they came into the
Oh, okay, yeah,
with her husband who was also in the cult, and she wanted to leave, but the husband was wanting to stay, and she had no way of getting out because she was super pregnant,
right, yeah,
and they're in the middle of nowhere. But she eats a, these pancakes. They had made these pancakes that are like super thin, like watery pancakes, and there were some more sitting there, so she ate more because she was hungry, and she got beat for that. And he said it wasn't him, it was God. He didn't want to be doing this. It's God through him, and it's torture on him to have to do this. And they would write letters to him like, I'm so sorry that you had to beat me over that. It was my fault that I did this thing. My faux fur is flying everywhere when I'm like,
I don't see it sadly, and that makes me very actually sad.
I'll make some.
Thank you. Yes, faux fur.
So the police start getting word of like these children living in squalor and like this guy that got castrated and like all this stuff. So the police come and they start like looking into things. Eventually they're able to raid the place. It took a little while.
It always does.
But yeah, this went on for a long time. There were like 6-year-old kids, 7-year-old kids like that were there. Like this went on for a really long time. And when they finally raided it and they got the kids out of there, the kids were so not integrating into society. They
I
barely
bet.
talked. Um, like they couldn't use utensils. They didn't know how. So they would just eat with their hands, like even soup. Like they didn't know what to do.
Yikes.
Teeth like falling out, uh, or missing altogether, cavities, like just horrible. Like, and they had to like let the foster families know like this is going to be a really tough situation. These kids have never been in society.
Right.
um, but slowly they
How long
integrated
ago?
them.
Okay. I was
Yes.
just gonna say, how long ago was this?
Let me see.
Like, are we talking like 70s?
1977.
Mm,
This was in Canada. So this is in, yeah, French Canada, French Canadian. Yeah. So basically, that was a cult that's worse than mine.
that's definitely a pretty bad cult. I feel like there's no
Yeah.
good cult though, but I know what you mean. Like
I some
degrees of
start good.
severity.
Some start pretty good. And there's cults that are not religious and some start pretty okay and they always end up going because of humans. Maybe there's some good ones because we just don't hear about them.
If that's true. There could be good cults out there, but we don't hear about them because they're well functioning.
I mean, there's some crazy ones that are like individual people that mask themselves as public speakers that are cult leaders for sure. A
Oh,
bird.
I'm sure there has to be like if you start a cult, there has to be like a cult of personality aspect about you that you want to create and have out there. Like I can't imagine like they want to just not be big in some world, a
Yeah,
world, their cult's world, the world at large.
it's nutty.
And it's nutty.
Um, yeah, there's some that come to mind, but I don't want to get sued
Sued by cults?
by the cult
Oh,
leaders that still exist.
I think it's,
And I
well,
know
that's
some.
what you said. This guy's still alive, or at least this guy went on the talk show circuit.
Oh
Like
no,
the
so before the police caught him, he was going on talk shows. Yes.
oh before. Okay, so
Before
he was cocky. He's
talk
just like,
yeah, talking about how like oh, that was another part of it. There was supposed to be the end of the world. So the world was supposed to end. That's why they went there because that always is a thing.
it's
Uh
always the thing.
and the date passed. And we love when that happens.
Whoops,
He said it's their fault and God's mad at them and that's why the world didn't end.
that'll do it.
These like 30 people. Like it's all you, the chosen one.
You all collectively ate the apple. How dare you? I'm postponing the end
Mm-hmm.
for a day or two.
No end for you. I mean, it's been these how many
Didn't
more
we just have one
years?
recently? An end of the world proclamation that went by.
Yeah,
Came
very
past.
recent, like a
Yeah.
month or two ago. Where'd that guy go?
Where did he go? Back to the drawing board.
I mean, I hope it ends. I hope one of you are right. But
So
doesn't the
eventually
Bible,
someone's gonna get it right.
yeah, but doesn't the Bible say that it won't be a day that humans think it will be?
It's it'll be like a Tuesday. It's like
You
no one expects Tuesday.
no, because you don't want to have a Monday, so we hope it ends on a Sunday, and then
Right. Like we'll give them the weekend. You know, give them the weekend because they probably expect it on the weekend.
yeah, but then we'll give them one more day of torture. We'll have a Monday, and it'll be the
Gotta have,
Mondayest Monday,
gotta have a Monday in there. Gotta have a Monday.
and then it'll be Tuesday morning right before work
Yes.
because you're gonna
Like
prepare, get up early, and you're gonna have to like
Tuesday
do
at
all your routine.
9 where I'll be sleeping. So that'll be fun.
Yeah,
I'm not a morning person, so wake up
you
all the
were
world.
you were
Ooh,
still up when I like got home last night at 2 a.m. here. So
I know. Well, that's because we had an extra hour,
oh, that's
uh,
true.
and so I just kind of I was riding that high.
So it's really
Just
like 4 a.m.
yes, that's when I get like insomnia, and then I'm just doom
Can't
scrolling
sleep.
TikTok lives, and you see the weirdest stuff.
Oh, the nighttime TikTok is wild.
Mm-hmm. It truly is.
I don't know if it's just because my brain is wild, so the algorithm is just like, yeah, that's what she's looking at more.
It's like this is what they want to see.
Oh gosh.
Like, you have people like from like China, I believe it is, and they're like auctioning
Yes. Oh my god.
girls or something.
They're
I don't
like
know what's happening.
dancing. Like, and
Yes,
then if you give a certain gift, they start dancing, and it's
right.
bizarre.
So bizarre. It is so bizarre.
And it really feels like they're, oh my gosh.
Like I'm super curious, like what person is watching that, like and enjoying that, and like
No, it's the people with
gifting.
the fetish. So it's the same people with the fetish of the AIs of controlling you is the exact same people.
It's wild.
And I understand like a control fetish and like the person is consenting. I don't know if those women are consenting.
Like yeah, having taught ESL, English as a second language, like I'm always very um suspicious of I don't want to say suspicious because that makes it sound nefarious, but I'm always just leery of when people meet who where there's a language barrier. I'm not saying you can't
Mhm.
do it. It's just there's always like, especially in the ESL field, like if you're an ESL teacher and you start dating a student or something like that, oh, that's weird because like where's there has to be manipulation there.
Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah. There's
but
well, there's
yeah.
a power dynamic no matter what.
Mhm.
Unless you're teaching someone who's like a doctor. already and they just are trying to learn English.
Right.
There's a fuzz.
There is a fuzz. But yeah, like there's so much opportunity to like manipulate what they're learning
Mm-hmm.
and to mold them. Well, especially if you have those nefarious intentions. Which I guess if you're watching one of those lives and you're gifting, maybe you do.
Maybe. I mean, if they're there willingly and like they're wanting your money and they're playing. So I was just talking to someone about this yesterday. Oh yeah, yeah, I said yesterday at dinner. That there's certain fetishes that I feel okay with profiting off of. Because
Yeah.
you're doing a favor for them. You don't feel anything weird
But we
about
were
it.
talking about that yesterday
Oh,
too.
we were too.
Yeah.
Um, that yeah, because we're talking about cucking. So maybe that was
Yes.
my maybe that was my dinner thing. But yeah, we're or hot wifing or whatever.
Yeah.
So that like that it's a business transaction. You're doing this thing that doesn't actually feel any sort of way wrong to you, and you're playing a
Right.
part like it's a role that you're playing. And then there's like other things that the person is manipulating the sex worker into, and it's
Yeah.
not part of what they normally do.
Right. And I feel like, especially with the language barrier, that can only be 10 times worse.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I try not to kink shame, but there are definitely some where I'm just like, oh,
Yeah, there's some that
when
just
we're
don't seem consensual.
yeah, when there's gaslighting involved or there's a power dynamic involved, like, and I mean like a role playing power dynamic. I mean like
That's
an
yeah.
actual power dynamic.
I'm gonna put something under my laptop because I think it's getting too hot.
I know I put a box under mine to raise it up. Otherwise, I'd be
There we
like
go.
looking down at the piano, like who played the piano in Peanuts? Linus?
It is. Oh, was it line? Yeah, I think it
I'd be
was.
like this. So,
That's why I hate that my camera is up here. So when I'm looking at you, it doesn't
I'm
look like
like,
I'm looking
okay,
at the camera.
I know. I'm probably dead eyed because I just keep looking at the screen to see you. Yeah. So like the camera's probably just getting me dead eyed, and it's like, oh, this guy is creepy.
It's always like that on Zoom.
I was not made for video. Okay.
Made for radio.
Hello. You're
All
listening
right.
to WMMS. I
So to
don't know. I can't do the vocal fry.
our past, because I could talk about cult leaders forever
Yeah,
and how fetishism can also be culty. Uh,
absolutely.
so growing up, did you start out at birth in the church?
No, it's interesting actually. I was raised a Lutheran
Mm-hmm. We have those
and
here.
was not culty at all. Um, it was a very progressive Lutheran church. Um, and the only reason why I went there is because my family is Finnish,
Mm-hmm.
and where I live, there is well, not so much now, but there used to be a very large Finnish population, and for some reason, a bunch of Finns are Lutherans. I guess in the area. I don't know if it's how true that is all over, but apparently,
No, here
so
too.
that's why.
Yeah, Scandinavia area here, and it's very Lutheran.
Yeah, I wonder what I've never actually investigated what the connection is because I always think of European countries as being overall, but yeah, so I grew up in a Lutheran church and it was totally fine. Like, I mean, we're talking like when I went through confirmation, which incidentally is something also Catholics do, but the Lutheran version's much easier.
I did Catholic. Ah.
Oh, you did? Oh, oh boy.
Uh oh oh Latin Catholic.
I taught at a Catholic school, and let me tell you, like that was some trauma right there, just in and of itself. Just being like, oh my gosh, we're having communion for the seventh time this week.
We were just
What
talking
saint did
about
what now?
We just talked about communion when I was just recording and about cannibalism.
Hmm.
And
You
some like fundamentalists, like, well, they call traditional um aspects of Catholicism believe that it actually turns into the body and blood of Christ in your body.
oh yeah, yeah. There's they one of the teachers accidentally dropped the body of Christ before, and like they didn't. No one knew what to do because they just dropped the body of Christ on the floor, and it's like, do I eat that?
Mm-hmm.
The teacher threw it in the garbage can.
Oh no, landfill
It was
Jesus.
a whole to do
Did they
about.
get fired?
No, they didn't get fired, but they're just like, yeah, no, there's a
They got the
procedure.
paddle.
They got the paddle. God, they probably would have a paddle if they could, but I'm so sorry you grew up. Okay, I mean that
I
makes so
didn't
much
grow.
sense.
Okay, so I grew up
Oh,
IBLP,
IBLP.
which is the God, I always forget what it stands for, but they masked it as a homeschool program,
Mm-hmm.
but it's the
Okay.
cult that the Duggars are in.
Ugh.
It's I'll look up what it's called. I had to look it up the other day for another episode. So you guys are gonna
They're gonna they're gonna
the
learn all about it.
Institute in Basic Life Principles.
You just know that's not going to be a fun place to be. Like just by the name.
I'm gonna ask my cousin and aunt and uncle and other cousin that are in this photo if I can post it, because like when this episode comes out, to show you. I'll send it to you though, to
Okay.
show you all what we had to wear.
Oh,
Jean, floor length jean.
I mean, Jay Leno would fit right in, but
Britney Spears and Justin Timberlake.
oh, that's a memory.
Brittany actually in her book mentions that and says, I love when people wear that as a Halloween costume.
No, good on Brittany for taking. Well, I haven't read it yet. I know you read it. I want to read it.
She purposefully did that to be cringy, by the way. They always matched when they went places. And so he said he wanted to wear jean and she's like, are you serious? Let's do it. And they
Honestly,
did
like
it.
I get the urge to be cringy like that with a person. I would do that too.
Oh yeah.
I would absolutely match them.
Oh yeah. Who's the one who always does the awesome Halloween costumes?
A
And
person?
yeah, famous person.
Oh,
And she always like goes way like she starts planning the day after Halloween for the next one.
I don't
And
know. My mind got immediately stuck on Tom Hanks being David S. Pumpkins, so I can't get past that now.
gosh, and she had a
I'm
bunch of
sorry.
people as her. Like it was her and she had a bunch of people dressed up as her and they all got out of a van together. They always do an event for Halloween and she dresses up.
That's amazing. I wish I knew who this was because that sounds like fun.
It'll come to me later.
It
I'll post some pictures, guys.
was Dame Judy Dench.
Oh,
It was wild, but
someone cool. She was on America's Got Talent as a judge, I think.
I've never watched
Heidi Klum. Heidi Klum.
Heidi. Okay, she was married to Seal.
Seal is cool.
Is Seal cool?
I don't know. I don't know anything about Seal's actual life, but I hear he's nice
He probably is. He seems like a nice person.
and
Although that
gentle.
"Kissed by a Rose on the Grave" song, if I never heard it again, it would be too soon.
Okay,
Oh,
so that's yours. So my boyfriend who passed away, which you probably listened to that episode, but
I did.
he hated the first cut is the deepest. So every time I hear this song, I laugh because I'm like, oh, he's rolling in his ashes right now.
Yeah, such a rubbish song.
Oh, it's so bad. His favorite song is 99 Red Balloons and loved it. And so at his sister's birthday party, 99 Red Balloons came on because he had requested it. And right afterwards, the first cut of Stupid's came on. I'm like, your sister had to have requested that.
Oh no. That's funny.
Also, what like 12-year-old has a DJ at their birthday party?
Okay, well, it was California, wasn't it? So like, I just feel like,
And they were very wealthy.
yeah, I feel like that's just something you do in California. You hire a DJ for your birthday party.
Not me, I was poor.
Well, not everybody, I guess, but yeah,
Yeah, but yeah, songs. Yeah,
that must be a tough job too. Like, think about it, like DJing a 12-year-old's birthday party. What do you play? What do you,
probably the same thing you play at a queer wedding.
I could see an overlap, I could
Yeah,
see an overlap.
they like because like queer people, they like iconic songs from the past,
Yes.
and they like really new shit.
Yes.
And I feel like a 12-year-old is very similar, and they'll pretend those really like iconic songs are new, and they'll be like, "Oh, you don't know who this is, mom."
Yeah. You, you don't know who Kelly Clarkson is.
Oh my god. Yeah. So back to your religious trauma.
Yeah. So grew up in a Lutheran situation. No issues there. Like the pastor, once he retired, he was a wonderful old soul. Like he had a son who came out as, this is old. I'm trying to think, somewhere in the Legitimatoire community,
The Alphabet
and he was,
Mafia.
yeah, he was totally supportive. Um, Great guy, great person. But like, so that had kind of like shaped my idea of what religion was and what it could be. Like this is, it was nice. It was nice to feel like you were part of something that wasn't there to like bite you.
Yeah.
um should you move the wrong way or what. But
There is a very big divide in Lutheran though.
there is, yes, there is, and I they fight all the time from what I can tell.
Yeah, we have that here. And I don't know how many Lutheran churches are in this tiny town, but there's like at least five.
Right, we used to have a lot in mine. Ashta Beulah
Ashtubuela.
had a ton of Lutheran churches. I don't know about, like I said, I don't know about now because um, the Finns certainly did not have a long lifespan. Um, so
Do you
yeah,
guys have lutefisk cookouts at your churches there?
no, they never did anything like super finished. There was, we do have a, well, I say like I still live there. There is a like a Finnish cultural center they have there, but no, I don't believe they put on any kind of, excuse me, any kind of Finnish festival of any kind.
Oh, almost all the Lutheran churches here do that.
It really, like I said, it really went down.
And Lefsa, they do Lefsa
Congregation.
sales to like raise money for the churches.
They do. I don't know how often they still do it, but they have these Niswa bread sales, which I don't know if you've had Niswa before,
I don't know.
but it's a Finnish bread. They put cardamom in it,
That sounds good.
and it's so good. And then they sprinkle it with sugar.
That also sounds good.
It is so good. And then like you can toast it. Oh, it's so delicious. But anyway, now I want Niswa. But
And I want Lefsa. I do not
yeah, so
want.
this kind of shaped my
I don't
ideas of
want
religion.
lutefisk. I do not want though.
No, I've heard it's not good. No, thank you.
I like
Um,
pickles,
you do like pickles.
but pickled fish, no thanks.
Where's the pickles on your bed? I was just about to.
I meant to put. They're right there. I meant to put them up here. I have my
Oh, they're by the water.
chips.
Yeah,
I've been eating them. They're not.
that's a
That's by fake water.
sure, Jan.
Oh, that's my
Oh,
sewing. Uh, oh,
yeah.
that's backwards. Pickles are right there. I
Oh, I
meant to.
see them.
I meant to put them back up here for. I was doing my food theme.
It is a very nice food thing. I know my background's rather bleak, but it's how I roll. But
But back to your trauma. Okay.
back to my trauma. I know your poor listeners are going to be like, it's like an hour in and they haven't even spoken about drama. What
This
is
sounds
this?
great.
This is just two queer people chatting like it's a Sunday. It is a Sunday.
But it
So
is for
I was
us.
also, if you can believe this, I was heavily made fun of in school. I
No.
was I was poor and fat. So like when you're a kid, poor and fat, it's like the trifecta, even though there's not a third. You know, like those are like those two things right there. Um, so I was constantly ridiculed all through elementary,
So they
and then in the
basically tied your hands to be queer.
in a way, oh yeah, that was the other thing. Like they always, all of the that was the other part of the trifecta. I forgot about that. Is calling you gay.
Oh yeah. Like that's a diss.
Right. Well, I mean, when you're that age,
Yeah.
like
Oh yeah.
I certainly thought of it as a diss back then. Like I will freely admit that, like growing up, like, yeah, oh, that's not me. I'm a manly man. No, but
Are you wearing your Betty White shirt?
I am wearing my Betty White shirt and my B Arthur. It's my favorite shirt.
Sorry, I get
It's okay.
distracted.
I do too. Uh, so like I went to junior high with these kids too, and like I was done. By this point, I'm just like, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to go into high school because like you always watch those movies of like how high schools are, and it's just like terrifying. Like I don't know if you remember those movies from our coming of age movies. Like,
No, I'm younger than you. I'm just kidding. Yes, I do.
all right. Um, but look, you just like all those movies where high school is involved in some way, shape, or form. And I'm just like, it's not going to work out well for me.
But all you have to
So
do is take off your glasses and remove your braces, and you're good. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like better
See?
glasses. No, I did it.
Now you just have to wear pink on Wednesdays and you can sit with us.
Oh, I didn't get that memo. But even better, I had to do it just for you.
It was
Um,
my one request.
so meanwhile, with all this going on, like my not my immediate family, my extended family, cousins and whatnot, were all pretty religious. Not Lutherans. We're talking like Baptist.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my one cousin's household, like they were the kind that grew up without the Christmas tree, couldn't watch TV, that kind of Baptist, right? And they went to this very small school. And around the same time, I had family, another set of cousins that moved back into the area, and they started going to that school too, and they were Pentecostal.
Oh.
So, which of course there's beef there.
By
It's
the
like,
way, everybody, if you didn't go to a religious school, you don't have to be that religion to go to that school, but you have to, like, the fundamentals of your religion have to match theirs.
right. Now the school would say that they're non-denominational. It would be like, yeah, like even though there's a church affiliated with the school, like on school property, there is the
Mm-hmm.
church, the main church. Um, and it was a Southern Baptist, even though I'm in Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
Which by the
Ohio
way,
doesn't exist.
oh, I know. I wish. Sometimes I wish. Um, the name of this school, by the way, because if there's maybe there's one of the listener, one of those other dots in the area who knows, it's called Southridge Christian Academy,
Ooh,
and the church is known as Southridge Baptist Church. But
sounds wealthy.
no, actually not. But so they were going to this school too, and I thought like maybe this is where I should go. Like I'm like, I'm Lutheran. I know the basics. Like I can do that. It's much better than being picked on, and potentially beaten up or whatever else could happen in public school.
And more gay kids go to Christian schools than anywhere else.
Right. And like I had to plead with my mom. My mom is not religious at all. And my dad's not in the picture, so he doesn't have a say in that, obviously. Um, so like I had to plead, like, please let me go here. It was like, I can't remember how much tuition was, but it was expensive. It was expensive to go to this school, not cheap whatsoever. But I wanted to because I didn't want to be made fun of anymore. I didn't want to endure high school like that. I mean, obviously, hindsight being 2020, I wish I had, but
They
can't
don't
take that
tell you
back.
that middle school's actually worse than high school.
When I made it through middle school, so
You are
oh well.
strong. You're strong,
It also helped that I was big. I was starting to become a
like,
chonky boy.
but taller too.
Yeah, taller and like, I mean, well, I was pretty skinny back then, but still, like, I wasn't like a little pipsqueak.
Hmm.
But yeah, so that's how I ended up going to Southridge Christian Academy. And like, it started off bad and it just got worse.
No,
Because a lot of people said, like, well, why didn't you just go back to public school?
your mom already
And
invested in going here.
right, I'm already
The
invested.
guilt.
And the other thing too was that when you first were going to go to this school, you had to take a test to see where you were, where
Hmm.
they would place you with your work. And according to them, I was at, this has been a long time ago, so forgive me. I want to say they had me at like a fifth grade math level,
What
and a seventh grade English level, they
is
said I
it?
was at.
Is it for testing purposes or just to keep you in the school?
It's to keep you in the school
Okay.
because, um, interestingly enough, the school was actually not my personal school, but the system, Accelerated Christian Education (ACE), was on John Oliver's show recently because of their ridiculous comics that they have. Like all of these, like we basically had workbooks that were called paces
Okay.
that we had to, like, these little mini workbooks that
Hmm.
each grade had 12. You're supposed to get through 12 a year in one subject. But yeah, they had these ridiculous comics and like these people. It was like a ripoff of Archie, but religious. You know,
Religions love to use pop culture and then pretend that it's theirs.
yes, yeah. If you ever Google like ACE comics, I'm sure they'll pop up, and there's some ridiculous examples. But yeah, so you have to buy these. By the way, you have to buy into the paces.
Even though
Um,
you're already like going to the school.
right. So you pay tuition to go to the school, and on top of that, you pay to buy the paces that you then have to do. And of course, there's a test at the end of each pace, and you have to pass that test. And if you don't, you have to redo the pace,
Is it
and you have to
these?
pay more. Yes.
Ah,
Yeah.
they're like legit comics.
Right. I mean, they were kind of interesting for what they were, I guess.
But they look like they're from like the 1940s.
Oh yeah, all the artwork is very base. Like, yeah. Um. So yeah, like you had to pay for the paces too, but being that I was at these lower levels, according to them, I had to do what were called gap paces. I
Mm.
had to do more work to catch up to my level. So when I started my ninth grade year at this school, I was doing fifth grade math and seventh grade English.
I cannot imagine you being behind in either of those things.
Right. Well, this is what shaped my, yeah, this is what shaped
Yeah.
my future for like the next 10 plus years. Was that me thinking like I was dumb as rocks?
Yeah, and that
Um,
the your ego and like your confidence from that is
right. And like I'm just like pretty much every other person. I do bad at tests.
and
I
it's
get
all
nervous.
about tests.
Right. I always get nervous, and I actually know the material. I hate homework. I could never ever do homework because I'm like, I know this. This is boring. I don't want to do this. Like, why do this repetition if I don't have to? But yeah, so they expect you to do these gap paces, and you start doing it. And like when you're doing fifth grade math and you're in ninth grade, you're like, this is really easy.
And then you
But even
get
though it's
bored and then you don't do the work and then
exactly,
it keeps
and
you
then
back.
when I graduated from this school, I had never even did pre-algebra, never a second language, I never got to 12th grade English. I never got to 12th grade math. I don't remember now what levels I finished off
They
on.
still graduated you?
Hmm. I don't remember even how I did that. I know I homeschooled. I did homeschool my last year because I ended up actually taking an extra year because I was so far behind, according to them, that my second senior year I spent at home with the score keys just filling in everything because
Yeah.
I was done.
Yeah.
Just like, here you go.
Hmm.
But
I graduated with homeschool as well.
and yeah, like it was just me just fucking off just to get it done because you want that diploma, you want to graduate. But
Does anyone ever ask you for your diploma?
no, thankfully not now because I have my bachelor's,
Yeah.
which thank God that superseded. I hate though whenever there's any kind of job application or something and it says like, where was your high school? And I just want to be like, oh, please don't let me disclose this. I don't want to disclose it. Like I was embarrassed about this time in my life and my 5 years of high school for years. I wouldn't talk to anybody about this stuff. Like, cause I was so ashamed. Like,
And there's so much emphasis on that too, of like five or second year seniors and like or fifth year seniors or whatever they call them. And
yeah,
it's like, well, sometimes that's what people need. And like, well, you didn't, but like sometimes it is, and it should be okay if that is the case.
right. It should be totally fine. But like, especially when you're in your early 20s and you're trying to date, and like when you're that young, I feel like when you graduated high school is a more
Yeah, what year
relevant
were you?
question.
Yeah.
Yeah, like what year were you? And of course, since that was right around the turn of the century, I was technically supposed to be a year 2000 graduate, even though I was 2001. But I mean, not that it matters now. I don't care.
I was 11 in 2000.
Me too. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Thanks. Thanks, bud. Uh, no, I'm fine with it. Like I've made my peace with it, and being queer makes me younger.
But we were both
I was,
born at a young age, so
yeah,
there's
you thought
that.
I was 25, so
I
I'll take it.
did. I honestly did.
Like this is very great, but I'm very happy you think that.
I've been gray since high school, so
I was not,
uh
but I mean, and that's just, I mean, that's not even the surface of the trauma. That's just the,
yeah.
you know,
So in your Baptist school, um, what I got food.
you got
In
food.
I got muffins. In your Baptist school, so for mine, things were very separated out between boys and girls. And okay,
Okay, that's fairly.
we have a co-host. Um, so,
Don't mind the man crawling upon the floor.
there we go.
There you go.
So I was already giggling before this.
I know.
Um,
I'm so sorry.
so so yeah, we had the whole like you had to leave room for a Bible between you.
A Bible. Wait, a Bible. I'm assuming flat, right?
Probably flat,
Six.
and one of those
My
big
school
ones.
one's at the pulpit. Mine was the my school went by the 6 inch rule.
Okay,
No more
yeah,
than 6 inches
but
or no
yours,
closer.
uh, girls wore skirts.
Yeah, girls could not wear pants whatsoever under any condition. I mean it was forbidden. You would have gotten in trouble for doing, well, you would have been sent home if you would have showed up with pants on. I mean, I can't even imagine what would have happened, honestly. It wasn't something that was done. People just didn't do it.
Could girls wear makeup?
Yes, yes, they could because I usually I carpooled with my cousin, so my aunt would drive us because they lived close by to where I grew up. And my cousin would always put makeup on in the van on the way to school. So I remember that. So they could wear makeup, but obviously it couldn't be,
Ours had to be
you know.
skin color makeup.
I feel like that was probably a thing too.
We could
I'm
wear
sure.
eyeliner, but it could only just barely line your eyes, and then the rest had to be natural makeup.
I can't remember now. Like I genuinely can't picture anyone's face. But I'm excuse me, I'm assuming it was a very similar
Yeah. And you couldn't have
situation.
dyed hair. Your hair had to only be dyed natural colors.
Oh yeah, could not dye your hair.
And girls had to have hair longer than your collar, and boys had to have hair shorter than the collar.
Yes, no long hair on. Like I told you that I got sent home one time because they said the taper from the top to the side was too counterculture.
I love it.
Like they equated it. Well, they didn't say this, but like I don't know if you know what kind of hair Amish men usually have, but it's kind of like a bowl cut
Mhm.
almost a little bit. And like that's what they were saying I had. Of course, this was the late 90s, and
And the Amish have it going on, so that is
you know, absolutely.
too stylish.
But I remember this one kid actually he said that because he got in trouble for his hair, and he said, "Well, I was just doing my hair like Jordan's." And so then it came back to me, and I was not allowed to come back to school until I got my hair corrected. And I had always gone to the same barber, got the same haircut.
Oh my
Like
gosh.
there was nothing. I wasn't trying to reinvent the wheel here. It was just my normal haircut, but apparently it was too racy. Um, but yeah. Oh, and guys, we had to wear shirts and ties.
We did not. So we were a little bit more progressive on what we could wear. So
you
girls could wear pants, but they could only be dickies. And then,
you froze for a second there. At least on my end.
oh, you froze. That's
Oh,
you.
it was me probably.
You could only wear dickies. And there was one store we could go and shop at. And our
Really?
polo shirt, we had to wear polo shirts, and the polo shirts could not have a logo on them. So we
Of
couldn't
course.
have, because they all have like a little animal or whatever.
Yeah, like a Lacoste alligator. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But there was one store that sold the ones that had no logo on them, and that's what we could wear. They were always too short on me because my torso is really long, and I would get in trouble all the time. And I'm like, I don't know what to do.
Oh, you're showing stomach at school?
So I always had to wear a sweatshirt all the time. So we could have
Oh
plain
my gosh.
sweatshirts. And so and we were in California. It's hot there,
I was
like
gonna say,
majority of the year. And there, it was very hot. And I was always in a sweatshirt.
were you allowed to
Um,
tuck it in? Could you tuck in your polo?
I couldn't tuck it in because it was too
Oh no,
short.
I meant like not physically you tuck it in, but like could was it feasible for other students to have tucked in their polos?
Possibly.
Okay,
But a lot of people had the same issue I did, with the longer torsos. The male ones were longer than the female ones because of it being the early 2000s.
right.
Um, and yeah, it was very difficult for me to find any. I had a couple. So I had tank tops I'd wear underneath that were long, and then my polo
Okay, of
shirt over it sometimes when it was really hot. We couldn't have cap sleeves, they had to be full sleeves.
course. Yeah, can't show
Because,
arm.
yeah, this is very sensuous right here.
It is. I'm telling you, that upper arm skin drives me wild.
Oh my gosh, I know. I'm surprised they didn't make us cover our weenus.
Oh, well, I'm sure they didn't call it a weenus.
And our shoes couldn't have any logos you could see on them. They had to be a plain color shoe.
Yeah,
So try finding that.
we had to have dress shoes. Could not
Luckily,
be any kind of,
I wear
easy wear.
Converse. I wear Converse because I wore high top Converse so I could cover the logo with my pants.
I honestly don't know if women could wear. I don't remember all like I don't remember too much about their. I knew they had to wear blouses and skirts or dresses.
Hmm.
Like there was no like polos. I don't think for women. I don't think they could wear polos. I could be wrong. I mean, this was 20-ish years ago now. Oh God, that's a thought. But yeah, it was a while ago. And
Gosh, my 20 years coming up.
I would never go to a reunion. I don't know about you, but I would
I'm
never.
going. I'm going. I,
Oh,
I missed my 10 year because I was moving here.
I'll go with you.
And I'm making, you can go with me. I am making my ex-husband go because we went to the same school together. And
Perfect.
he does not want to go, but I'm making him go. Uh
I think I had 6 people in my graduating class. So
we had 30, I
2 of
want
whom
to
are my
say.
cousins, and I see them enough. So many other students from who went to that school are dead or
I technically was graduated in '06, but I walked in '07.
okay. So same as me.
Mm-hmm. I stayed in, so kind of backwards from you. So I finished all my stuff in '06 and walked in '07.
Okay.
My year two graduate by my age should have been in '08, but I skipped first grade.
Okay.
Um,
Look at you skipping grades.
my dad sued my mom to make me go to public school.
Your dad sued your mom.
Yeah, because I was in the freaking cult school.
Well, I mean, kudos.
So I was only in their little cult program for kindergarten and first grade, but I started a year early. They were going to make me go to first grade, but I tested into second grade. So I started in
Okay.
second grade at 6. But I'm
So,
not saying that that had anything to do with the homeschool program.
right. Oh,
um, yes, I went into second grade when they would not have allowed that nowadays. I think by September 1st, you have to have had your birthday for the year. Like I would have had to have been 7 to
yeah.
go into second
It's
grade.
something like that. I can't remember now, but yeah.
Um, but yeah, I went to that school for 2.5 years to the Baptist school. So I moved in with my dad. So I went to public school because my dad
Mhm.
sued that I had to go to public school. So I went and
Thank goodness for that.
oh, I went to 2 different schools in second grade, had 3 different teachers. And then I went to a different school for third grade. Then I went to a different school for fourth grade, different school for fifth grade, different school for sixth grade, but went to the same school for seventh grade, different school for eighth grade, and then went to the Baptist school for high school. So we both went in high school.
That's wild that you went around that much or to that many different schools.
So what happened is they kept changing district lines and stuff. So it kept
Hmm.
changing my home school, and we didn't move. They just kept changing my school. I moved in with my dad for eighth grade, and then I moved back in with my mom for ninth grade, and she sent me to the Baptist school, which technically, legally, she was not supposed to do because it wasn't a. But she got
Yeah,
a multi kid discount because 3 of us got sent there, and she got a pastoral discount because my stepdad's a pastor. And so, yeah, I went to that school for 2.5 years, and then I
wow.
was told I was expelled, and I was not.
How what did you do to get
So,
expelled
my ex husband and
allegedly?
I,
Oh no. Oh,
okay, so when we were 14,
Tyler.
we did stuff. And my very purity culture mind thought we did all the stuff. You guys have to count how many glasses Jordan wears and put it in the comments.
I didn't bring them all.
Ah, darn it.
That would have been too much. My desk can't handle that.
Um, so we did stuff.
You actually
Um,
went all the way.
and I thought we did. I did not have sexual education. Okay.
Well, yeah, I mean, Baptist school says it all.
Yeah, and my parents opting out of things. So, uh, I thought touching like a AFAB person touching a mab. Do you ever say a mab? Like I've never heard
Touching
that.
an AMAB,
A
touching,
mab,
yeah,
an AMAB person's sack is how you got pregnant.
snack.
Mm-hmm.
Not
Because it
the
comes from the testicles. That's how you
right.
get pregnant.
Okay, I mean, fair. I never thought about that, but yeah, touch the sack.
Yeah. So I went and got Plan B after that.
Oh my gosh.
No
Oh,
joke. And I had to tell, so I told my stepsister's dad, who was one of my safe adults, he went and got me Plan B the next day. So my stepsister told my stepmom, who told my dad, who told my mom, who told the school.
why would your mom tell the school? I mean, there's probably a lot of why questions I could ask your mother, but
Yeah, that's my question too.
yeah.
So she told the school because she said it's her responsibility because it's against their handbook. So she told them we had sex, which isn't what actually happened.
Oh my,
He got in so much trouble. So he had a pastor dad too. He got in so much trouble that he got beat by his dad so bad because they found out like after this happened, but he had hernia surgery. He got beat so bad by his dad that his stitches open. His
wow.
his parents then moved him because of this to Arizona to
Wild.
get away from me because I was going to, it was all my fault, even though he's the one who would ask me all the time.
Of course.
I was fine with
You're
just kissing, okay? And
you're Eve.
it took us 4 months to hold hands. It took us, let's see, we started dating in October, September, whenever homecoming is. End of September,
September-ish, I
beginning.
think. Yeah.
So October, November, December, January, February to hold hands. And then whenever the movie Sahara came out, that's when we kissed.
What a first kiss.
We went to the movies a lot.
Oh, I
Um,
understand that. Yeah.
that was like the thing all the kids did because it was cheap at the time. Not anymore.
Not anymore.
They're like
Yeah.
$2 movie days on Tuesdays. Uh, so we go to the movies all the time, and you could buy movie tickets from our church for
Okay.
cheaper. So if you bought like a bundle of the movie tickets, it would be like $2, $3 a ticket. So and then
And
the
these are just
money,
regular movies? Like these aren't like Christian movies?
yeah, the regular movie theater.
Oh wow. Okay.
Although we did go see Passion of the Christ as a field trip in my high school. So
Ugh.
so that happened. So his parents moved him away. I had a okay. So there were some classes that my parents, I guess, were told that I had to take um, if I wanted to see him again, like about purity
Oh my gosh.
and my gift and giving it out to too many people. So I didn't know about that. I'd never took these classes. So I'm going there again the next year. So this happened the end of the school year, after freshman year.
Okay.
So he's moved during the summer. The next year, and then I started dating my boyfriend who passed away after he moved away. So the next year, I'm like a mess. Like I'm so depressed because like all this loss happened and my boyfriend died and all this stuff. And I had nowhere to really process it because I was in trouble for all of those things that happened.
Right.
So
And I know
all
there
of
was there
that,
was drama
yeah.
surrounding the boyfriend who died too.
Yes,
Your
because you
mom.
guys, if you want to go back, I think the episode's called "I Think of You and Let It Go," and I think
I
it's
think it's
episode
seven. Episode
seven.
seven,
I
I
think
think.
it is seven. If you want to hear that story, I tried to keep my mom out of it as much as possible and focus on the relationship for that one. But And she actually listened to that episode and said she cried because she emailed me after
Well,
she listened to it.
yeah.
But there was a lot of trauma behind that too. So that whole summer, tons of trauma. um, and I went, so the next year, I don't even remember it very much. It was such a blur. This guy who looked like Napoleon Dynamite told me I was his girlfriend, so I was his girlfriend.
Okay.
I'm gonna send you a picture of this guy.
He looks like Napoleon Dynamite. I can't wait. I cannot wait.
Those who went to school with me know exactly who I'm talking about. Uh, and like still like being pressured into like doing stuff. Well, you've done stuff with someone else, so you have to like me just as much as them. So you need to do stuff with me. And like, yeah. So I get in trouble because we did stuff, and it's me who's in trouble. Like me.
Of course, yeah.
So again, they say I can stay in the school if like I take these classes. I never knew about these classes. Time goes on. I don't do the classes. My ex moves back from Arizona to California because his parents got divorced. His dad moved back and he moved with his dad back. The school wanted their money. My family is poor. We're
Hmm.
there on a financial aid, we're there on a pastoral discount and a multi kid discount.
Right, yeah.
So I either have to take these classes and we can both go to the school, or I have to go so he can go to the school.
Wow.
My mom tells me I'm expelled, pulls me
Oh
out of the school.
God.
So he starts going to the school, and I'm like, does he hate me? Like, we didn't talk the whole time, but he had a lime green car. I remember that. And I would see it at the school, and I would drive, like, when we drive by and I'd see it in the parking lot. I'm like, oh, he's there. I miss him.
Oh,
So
he's at school.
I hope he doesn't hate me. So I go to a homeschool. It's called an independent learning program. It was mainly like pregnant women, pregnant girl school, but I wasn't pregnant.
Okay. Okay.
I wasn't pregnant. Everyone assumed that when I got kicked out of that school and got sent to
Oh,
this
right. Yeah.
school.
I'm sure the rumor mill just
But they would send home
exploded.
packets, like the whole semester's work for a class, and you get it done at your pace. You have to do at least one a week, but you can do it faster.
Yeah.
Uh, and then some of the classes they didn't offer there, so we had to do them at the college. So for $1 a credit, we could take classes at the college. So I just took as many as I could
Okay. That's
while I was going to school there. So that's why I didn't graduate till I was 07. But so I can keep going to college classes. Plus, I was working right there by the school. I just had to check in with my teacher every week, show him where I was at with progress. There was one class from the college that I could do on the computers at their school. So I was doing that class, which was like a college geometry class. So I wanted to not graduate. I wanted to just get my GED and be done. But I graduated from the pregnant girl school, and I graduated pregnant.
as one does.
So when I walked, like technically I was already graduated, but when I walked, I was, let's see, we walk in June. So I was 7 months pregnant.
Oh wow. Okay. So
But I went there for a year and a half. So I wasn't pregnant the whole time. And you all know the trauma. It was not my choice to get pregnant.
right.
but it was like everyone's like, oh, see, she was pregnant. I'm like, do you know how time works? Do you know how pregnant? No, you don't. You
Right.
don't know how pregnancy works because you go to a school that doesn't teach you. So
Right. Yeah, exactly. There's no health classes.
they taught us about STDs.
Really? Wow, I'm surprised.
Yeah, they taught us that you would get them.
Oh, well, that's what my school did.
It
But
was part of a genetics class that taught us about like eye color and hair color and stuff. And then they like health class is what they called it. And then they added in an STD portion of like scaring us out of having sex.
yeah,
Mhm.
that's wild.
You can get herpes by a hand job, by the way. So,
Oh, well, good to know. Now that's solid advice. Top tip, listeners.
oh gosh. Um,
No,
also, girls can't get HIV.
they taught that?
Yeah. Oh, and they taught us that if a girl does it in the butt, that you're just that your boyfriend is has gay tendencies and you are supporting this and allowing them to express their gay tendencies with you.
Wow.
Mhm.
They went all in there. My school didn't. I don't think they went that far. Well, I mean, they went far in a different way, but they kept it at that. They, but I don't remember anything. It was just always you weren't allowed to be within 6 inches. So there was no hand holding. And if you dated, um, you couldn't do anything on school property. Like
Did you have to have a
absolutely.
chaperone for dating?
I mean, most of the families were pretty religious that went to this school. So I mean, I guess that would happen anyway,
Hmm.
more than likely. Like, but I mean, you wouldn't want to date anybody from that school anyway. But yeah, like it was. I remember like,
Well, with six kids and two of them being your cousins.
well, there's that. I mean, yeah, it was a small school. I want to say like in the high school room there was probably like 30 kids total, maybe from like ninth through 12th. But yeah, uh,
Were you religious at all while you were going to the school?
I wasn't religious, but it was hard to get out of there and not pick up something
Hmm.
and then suddenly be very fearful. Like I was not devout at any point in time. I always felt like well, okay. So basically, as you and I have spoken about before, like when I was like 10 years old, I was sexually assaulted by a kid close to my age and lived with immense guilt about that. Couldn't tell anybody.
Hmm.
But when I went to the school, suddenly they were telling people like the principal was always doing we had every morning we had not choir, what the heck?
Chapel?
Chapel, thank you.
We had chapel.
Wow. But yeah, we had chapel every morning. And so the principal would always lead chapel. And his message, I remember the first time he ever told that message of gay people, homosexuals as he called them, um, get AIDS and die from AIDS. Like it was that was there was no nuance to this from him. And of course, my impressionable mind is thinking, oh my God,
I
I
have
have
AIDS.
AIDS.
Yeah.
Like, and it's so weird to talk about it now, but like I legitimately went all of those years and I don't know how many years post high school thinking legitimately that I had HIV or AIDS.
And you
Like
couldn't
that
tell anyone.
I couldn't tell anyone because it was sinful.
Hmm.
It was a shameful thing that I could never speak about.
And you get guilt from your, like, what happened to you.
Right. Because like like there was a part that you go like, okay, well, this happened. And what do I do with this? What do I do with these feelings? And suddenly you can't tell anybody about these feelings because, oh, by the way, this is very bad. And these people die of AIDS. And so you go through high school thinking like it made me, it didn't make me religious. It made me a nervous wreck
Yeah.
and trying, it was a Southern Baptist. So they were all about saving and, asking Jesus to be your, oh, I can remember the verbiage now. It's been so long and it's been repressed, but taking Jesus into your heart, whatever they
Yeah.
call it for the whole saving thing.
He's your wife.
And
You're his wife.
I almost said your lawfully wedded wife. Yeah, like,
They do say
except
that though, like you're accepting him as you're the bride of Christ and you are married to Jesus.
poor guy's got a lot of strange wives,
But you also can't be gay.
which was, well, there's that. But yeah, so like I remember I would do that like daily. I would daily just be like, oh my gosh, like I don't want to die of this. I don't want to die of this. And I always felt like people could see it. Like I had the red letter on my face or something, and people could see this and every day. And it was just for that alone, like that made high school an absolute living hell because it was just, when is this going to come out? When am I going to be thrown to the wolves? When am I going to
And no one's going to want
have
to
full
touch
blown,
me or be around
right?
me.
When am I going to have full blown AIDS? Like, at what point am I going to start showing signs? And like, that's no way for any person to live, let alone a person in high school.
I went through
Like,
that fear of 6 months of testing and being scared. I can't imagine that many years of being scared.
right. And even like, I couldn't get tested because like,
Hmm.
how would I do that without my family knowing?
Back then, you had to tell your family.
Right. So it's like, it was terrible. It was so terrible. And this wasn't like a one off.
Mhm.
Good old Stuart Watson, this was his message all
Of
the time.
course, his name was Stuart.
Of course, his name was Stuart, and it was Stuart with a U. And oh, if
I'm
I
gonna
ever
call him
saw that
Stewie
man, if I ever saw that man now, I would punch him so hard
in the butt.
in the butt, in the taint. I would punch him right in the taint. God, like
And how
he,
many other people were sitting there wondering the same thing and feeling the same way and
yeah,
feeling
I
alone?
honestly wonder how many other kids potentially experienced something similar.
Because like it's statistically 1 in 33 boys have been assaulted by a male before they're like, I think it's before 18.
Yeah, and there were always rumors that the pastor of the church was messing around with boys.
Mhm.
And I often wonder, like, was this the point of Stewart's? Well, like, what was this what Stewart was talking about? Like,
And
is
then he
that what he was
was,
bringing?
I
Like, he knew when he was
wonder,
bringing it up,
I wonder if it was, and he was trying to silence his victims because they're like, well, if I tell anyone about this, then they're going to think that I'm gay and I have this thing and no one's going to want to touch me. No one's going to want to be around me and I'm tainted forever.
right?
So I can
Yeah,
only
I
be
mean,
with this person. And that's the only affection I'm going to get is from that person.
yeah, I cannot e- explain just how much wind it takes from your sails to think that you have this disease that, in the late 90s, like AIDS was
Deadly.
still very deadly, still mysterious enough that like we didn't know enough about it, and still very much so considered a gay person's disease.
And then they like had all the rumors of that you must have slept with a monkey and
Oh yeah, back when it started off as grid or whatever. Like you have all of this going on, and you're like, well, what's the point of going to school?
yeah, I'm going to die.
Like, I'm never going to go to college. I'm not smart enough to go to college because I'm starting at such a low level that it just snowballs. You can't go back to public school because if you tried to go back to public school, you'd have to repeat a grade. And repeating a grade when you were in public school, that is social death. Like
Oh,
that is
yeah.
not, on top of being made fun of for being fat or poor. Like you add that on top of it suddenly, oh my goodness, it would just be, yeah.
Was
But yeah,
the
I often wonder.
was the homeschool you went to through the same school?
It was, yeah.
Okay.
This school had a homeschool wing.
So did mine, yeah.
Yep.
I went to a
And
different one for graduating, but yeah, mine
oh,
did
different.
too.
Yeah, yeah. It was the same program, same paces, same everything.
Ah!
Yeah.
Okay. You have Asian lady beetles, right?
Yes.
There's one on my bed right now. Get away. They're
They're
not
just
ladybugs, guys. We're
they're
allowed to
not
be mean to
ladybugs.
them. They're stink bugs and they're gross.
Ooh, yeah. Don't smash them.
Well, it'll bring all the other ones to it. Like if you smash it, they can smell it and they'll come
Like
into
a
your freaking
beacon.
house.
We're gonna very slowly come into your house now. But
And you have the box elder, the kissing bugs too.
the what kissing bugs?
Box elder bugs, beetles.
I don't think so. I don't. Maybe.
I'll have to send you a picture.
Okay. Send me a picture.
Hi, everybody. Sorry for the interruption. This has run a little bit longer than planned, so we're splitting it into two. Join Tyler and JorDan next time to hear the rest of the conversation.